I don't even think it's necessary to have a relationship with your mother if you don't feel like that relationship is good for your well-being. Your mother wound is not actually about your mother. I wanted to do this follow-up video to the series around the mother wound that I've been doing because I want to share some common misconceptions and subtleties and nuances of this work, because oftentimes when we dive into personal growth work and we're really looking to create a change, a transformation, we want just like a formula. Like, give me the steps, give me the things to do, and I'm just going to do them, and then everything's going to change. Sadly, it's not always that simple. There are subtle nuances to every process. And even though I've been able to break things into very tangible, simple steps for you and for my clients, and it works really well for them, there's always nuances and common misconceptions that I wanted to speak to today. One of the things that I think is really important to understand around this topic of the mother wound is that, yes, we're talking about your relationship with your mother, and we're specifically talking about your relationship and experience of your mother when you were young, usually before the age of 7. Typically, when I have a new client come to me, they might think that I am going to tell them they need to reconcile their relationship with their mother now. Like, they're going to need to go talk to her or make things better with her. And that is not at all what this work is. In fact, I usually recommend that my clients don't have any conversations with their mother at all. And the reason why is because it's not about your mother understanding how she affected you. It's not about her finally getting it and now you guys have a great relationship. In fact, I don't even think it's necessary to have a relationship with your mother if you don't feel like that relationship is good for your well-being. And I have clients who have made the choice to not speak to their mother anymore because that's the healthiest choice for them. And that's completely fine. There's no right or wrong here. But a lot of times my clients will have the experience that once they start doing the inner work and reconciling these things within themselves, their relationship with their mother in present time will become easier or will feel more neutral, and they don't have to have any conversation with her about it whatsoever. In fact, that happens with most of the relationships in your life when you do this work, which is all internal. The second thing is, it's not about blaming your mother. This is not about getting attached to a story that, oh, well, I'm like this because my mother did X, Y, and Z, or I can't move forward because, I had a mother that was a narcissist, or whatever it is. This is about actually the complete opposite. It's about taking full responsibility and ownership for what your experience was so that you can change it, And again, that doesn't mean that if, you had a mother who was abusive or neglectful and you were a victim in some way, it doesn't mean that that's not true and you pretend that that didn't happen, or you say like, oh, I wasn't a victim, because in childhood there might be circumstances where you were, and that's real. But being in that state to say this person did this to me and that's it and there's nothing I can do about it is not the state from which you can create a change. So in order to create a change, you have to be able to take full responsibility for what your experience was, what the needs were that you had that were not met, however subtle or however big they were. And this leads me to my third point, is that there's no hierarchy of trauma or childhood wounding, right? And I have a lot of women who come to me that say something like, well, I had a really good childhood, or I had a really good relationship with my mom. I love my mom. There's nothing wrong there, or whatever. And that doesn't mean that there's no wounding that is impacting you now, right? Because every human being has faults and they have things that they don't have capacity for. They are carrying their own traumas, and they will get translated when you have a child, right? So it's not about saying that your mother did anything wrong. It's simply just being able to look at your experience and what beliefs you internalized about yourself, what beliefs you internalized about the world based on this relationship. So it can be very true that your mother was very loving and you had a great relationship, but you have to be able to look at, okay, well, what are the things in my life that are not working now that I haven't been able to change? And how has this relationship created an energetic dynamic, a feeling or a belief that is stopping me from moving forward in the way I want to, right? And that's it. And it could be something as subtle as, your mom believed that she had to sacrifice her own needs for everyone else's. And that's what was modeled to you. So that's how you're operating in your life unconsciously, and it's showing up as feeling responsible for everyone else's feelings, self-abandoning, people-pleasing, not admitting to yourself that you actually want to change careers or change relationships or whatever it is, because you're stuck in this operating system that is limiting you, that you took on from your mother unconsciously, right? So it doesn't have to mean that your mother did anything wrong. It doesn't have to mean that you didn't have a good childhood. It's simply just being able to look at how those early childhood years, specifically with your mother, because she was the primary person that you were connected to, impacted you and created the challenge that you're facing now. And I always like to look at all of this stuff through the lens of what is happening now. What is the challenge now? What do you want to create now that you feel you're being blocked or you're not sure how to make it happen and you've tried all these things? And what can we pinpoint that you have not addressed yet from childhood around this relationship that's creating that block? So that way we can pinpoint and address that. So then you're able to move forward in a way that feels really good to you. And that pattern or that block or that place you felt stuck just dissipates. I want to give this example because I just got off a call, the Metamorphosis call. And if you guys don't know, the Metamorphosis is my main flagship program that I've been running for over 6 years now that teaches you how to pinpoint your mother wound and untangle your early childhood relationships so that you can clear the patterns or the blocks to move forward in your life now. And I have a client who's been with me for probably about 9 months. And she just has had like a huge shift. Like she had a big opening career-wise. And she also just had a big opening personally where she is starting to relate to herself completely differently. She had a tough relationship with her mom. And in turn, she was feeling stuck in her career, having a tumultuous relationship with her boss. And as she went through and we pinpointed the wounding and she moved through the breath work and she cleared all the unconscious emotions, it was like all of a sudden she was able to be in her body, sense what her needs were, take care of herself in a new way, start to create her own business. And it wasn't like she had to force herself to do these things. And I think this is the part of this work that is so magical and that not everyone understands until you experience it. It was like because she cleared that wounding around her mom and the ways her mom didn't take care of her or wasn't there for her, she naturally was able to support herself and take care of herself and make decisions that reflected how she valued herself naturally. It wasn't something that she had to force herself to do or had to say like, okay, since my mom was this way, I'm going to be this way, because it doesn't work that way. The way that we create real change is by processing the suppressed emotions, that are fueling the pattern that's keeping you stuck. So once she did that, it was like everything just opened up and she naturally just made the decision to move forward in her career. She naturally wasn't triggered by her boss anymore. She naturally was able to take care of herself in a new way, be attuned to her needs in a new way, relate to her partner differently, and have a huge opening with her partner. It's something that always just happens naturally once you pinpoint and address these things. So for those of you who are struggling with some sort of, behavior pattern or challenge or block around moving forward, stop trying to figure out how to fix that or get around that and look at what is the deeper emotion that is fueling this pattern that I keep creating. And that's when you create real change. And that's what we do inside the Metamorphosis and in, my work with clients. So if you guys want more information, we'll link the Metamorphosis below. I just really wanted to point out these nuances because it's not just about like, oh, my relationship with my mom created this. It's really just about being able to look at this really all-encompassing influence on your way of relating to everything, which was your mom, and being able to see where it's limiting you and how you can move through those unconscious emotions to create a shift. And I'm telling you, I've got this down to a formula. It works. And I know I just said there's no formula because there's so much nuance, but when you go through this process and you do it, it works. And it happens with everyone. As long as they stick with it and they keep going, they get to the other side. So if you have questions, please reach out. If you have comments, if you want to hop on a call to discuss your situation and how I see the mother wound playing out and how you can shift it, I will put a link below for you to do that. But thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will look forward to connecting with you soon.